Rocking chair.
Oh my God!
Chair's moving.
This is serious.
God, this is, I never seen anything like this.
It smells nasty.
Some encounters don't start with danger. They start with something that just feels wrong. From a strange, human-like sound echoing through the woods, to a man standing motionless in a tree, watching from the shadows. Sometimes the real threat isn't what you see, it's what you don't understand. If you were there in that moment, would you trust your instincts and walk away? On October 27th, 2025, YouTuber Chris Baird and a friend traveled deep into a remote forest to investigate the so-called Skinwalker cabin, a location accessible only by dirt roads and completely cut off from cell service, surrounded by lakes and isolation. Almost immediately, their exploration took a disturbing turn as they documented strange shrines, unsettling accounts from previous visitors, and reports of unexplained break-ins.
Alright guys, as you can see behind me, there's a cabin sitting there. This cabin is known as the Skinwalker cabin. We are in an area of the forest that people say skinwalkers reside. They see weird things. They see get some weird answers. We just got buried in psychic. People report seeing actual skinwalkers, like tall beings, weird things that look like animals, half human, really weird things. Mimics. You'll hear your own voice being called. It'll sound just like you, but it's not you. A lot of weird stuff happens in this forest, and there's a lot of reason to believe that the owners know about it because they have some things behind us. I don't know if you guys have seen this yet. We were actually here about 3 months ago. Apparently this is like a little memorial shrine, like for protection. They try to keep this negative energy away, but if you guys only knew the stories, people who have stayed here leave reviews about this place. Terrifying things. They hear doors slamming at nighttime. They actually have like reports of people breaking into the cabin, and they go check and there's nobody here. They'll come outside, they'll hear screams. There's a lot going on. We've actually been filming here for about an hour. Check out Jazz's video. Jazz is actually behind the camera tonight. I appreciate him for that. It just said hear me. Hear me 9. Let's just listen for a second. Nothing, we're good. There's no skinwalkers, we're fine. Yeah,
that's always good.
But yeah, tonight we're gonna push it a little bit. So last time we came here, I don't know if you guys remember, but we got freaked out and we left. We were kind of like almost trapped in that house. It felt like things were coming after us and attacking us. We closed all the blinds. There was a lot going on. It was a really weird night. Give it another try. You guys met some light goals. You guys wanted us to come back here. And we're...
To be fair, someone literally was outside the cabin.
We caught
her on camera.
We caught a picture of somebody literally outside, down at the bottom of the driveway. Don't know.
What the fuck was that? That was a tree knock.
That was a growl. Hello? Jazz always gets mad at me when I do this, but...
Oh my God.
That was a whistle back.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. Dude, if I had a Big Mac right now, I don't think I'd ever complain again.
Dude. Hello?
What do we keep hearing?
I saw something.
What'd you see?
I don't know, bro. I'm just seeing shadows. Maybe I'm just freaking out over my own shadow.
Oh.
Hello? All right, Chris, come on. We got this. We're big and strong.
Sure?
And...
We don't have to. We can just stay here.
No, we can do this.
We're in a trail right now, guys. Look at us. See?
No,
We're exploring trails.
Yeah.
Exploring with trails.
Come on. I'm trying to motorboat you.
Oh.
I mean, motivate you.
It's been so long. Now, I don't know why this would have been here. So there's like a, it feels like almost like a dock.
This?
But it's like collapsed.
Well,
but for what reason?
do you think it was maybe something for hunting? Do you think maybe it was something for...
Well, what are you going to shoot at? The fucking trees?
The skinwalkers.
Certainly, okay.
The skinwalkers, of course.
As night fell, they began hearing unknown sounds, tree knocks, growls, and whistles, and noticed movement in the shadows among the trees. What began as cautious curiosity intensified when the sounds seemed to respond to their actions, even echoing their voices.
Chris, that's a tree knock. There's a stick right there. Do it back.
I was going to start clapping. All right, guys, we can do that too. Tried to poke your eye out. Came from the water.
Okay. Yeah.
We got to find the water. Can you guys make this sound? I just heard you do it. Can you do it again? I'm breaking the fucking stick.
my God!
Seeking shelter, they rushed into the cabin, assuming the threat was outside, only to experience even more unsettling activity within, including unexplained movement and noises suggesting something was actively engaging with them.
Where did you guys come from? Like, who summoned you? How did you get here? Summoned. Okay.
Okay, so when were you summoned? Can you at least tell us that?
Yeah.
What the fuck was
What's the
that?
fucking rocking chair?
Oh my
The
God!
chair's moving.
Chris, shut the fuck up.
What the fuck is going on right now?
Dude, I'm like frozen right now. I legit can't move right now.
Someone's like getting dragged upstairs.
Chris?
Don't look at me, you just said. Where are you? In the back?
Remote environments like this can heighten fear, blending natural sounds with anxiety, but the apparent awareness behind the noises raises deeper concerns. Were these events simply the result of stress and surroundings, or did Chris and his friend enter a place where something truly did not want them there that night? On September 5th, 2020, YouTuber Phoenix set out to begin an ASMR channel focused on capturing forest trails and natural soundscapes. During his first outing, he came across a fenced-off section of woods where the barrier had been broken down and heard a sound unlike anything he had ever encountered in Michigan. Despite years of experience walking trails, the noise felt completely unfamiliar. Phoenix decided not to investigate further, later suggesting that whatever made the sound seemed either angry or in pain. Unexplained noises in remote areas can often have natural explanations, but they can also trigger a deep, instinctive fear. Do you think he walked away from a harmless animal, or something far more unsettling hidden in the woods? On February 4th, 2025, outdoor YouTuber Walter Zollner headed out for a winter hike on the Appalachian Trail near Mincy Overlook, expecting quiet scenery and a routine trip.
All right, incredible view there from Mincy Overlook. We're going to go a bit further up the AT to get to the true summit of Mincy, and then we're going to turn around and I'm going to get a little further ahead, and I got to tell you about something that was very, very disturbing at the overlook up there. Really creepy.
While recording and speaking to his audience, he started to hear movement in the brush behind him, sounds he initially brushed off as small animals, something common in colder months when dry leaves make noise seem louder. As he kept moving, the sounds continued to follow.
I want to get a little bit further up the trail, get some distance from the overlook before I put the camera down and talk to you about what just happened up there. Not the kind of thing you want to have happen on a beautiful day on a hike like this. Downright creepy stuff. All right, we are on top of Blue Mountain, the ridge that basically the Appalachian Trail follows this ridge all the way through Pennsylvania. And according to all trails, there's one more little lookout here, Mincy South lookout. South is the direction I came from and the direction I live in. So I'm gonna sit down here and have a little talk with you about something.
When he finally took a closer look, what he first thought might be a bear turned out to be far more unsettling, a man dressed entirely in black, standing unnaturally still in a tree.
All right, guys. Now I'm sitting here at the Mincy South Overlook, about a quarter mile past the main overlook, which should have been the highlight of this whole hike. But I want to tell you what happened there because I wanted to get a little bit of distance from there. So when I got to the overlook there, I kept thinking that I heard like an animal moving around in the brush, a little bit up the hill, a little bit behind me, not too far. I thought it was a small animal because in the wintertime, a small animal like a squirrel or a rabbit can sound large when it's going through the leaves. But I didn't think too much of it because the view was really beautiful. And I went into that lower area. Then I went up a little bit further and I kept hearing it. And then I looked and I saw something dark and black. And I thought, oh, that could be a bear. That would be cool, you know. Weird to be seeing a bear in the daytime in early February, but the weather's been kind of weird. That would be awesome. And I'm looking and I start hearing like this music, like really like low bass, kind of like rhythmic, kind of creepy music. And I'm looking and there's this guy and he's like standing in a tree, all dressed in black like this. Okay, this was creepy as shit. Okay, I'm telling you this, I'm not making this up. Now I'm in the middle of filming my video. I got really unnerved by this, but I kept taking my couple of pictures. I didn't stay there as long as I wanted to, but I never like kept them, you know, I kept my eyes in the back of my head, if you know what I'm saying. I kept them, I look on them. Now I always carry this with me. It's just a 4-inch, you know, basic buck knife. It's got a sharp blade. I don't ever want to have to use anything like this, but I definitely was, you know, keeping it ready. What do you do when you come across a really creepy person out in the woods? It's a good question. It's a tough question. First of all, trust your instincts, trust your judgment. If you get a bad vibe from someone, then trust that vibe. Try to get away from them. Try to know where they are and try to move away. Maybe he was just a kid, like a weird kid, and he was just, that's his spot. It's kind of a weird spot because it's one of the most popular places on the trail. The fact that he was just like sitting up in that tree and wasn't moving, and he was also smoking something. I could smell it. It had like a cherry flavor. I don't know if it was marijuana or tobacco or vape. But that's one of the creepiest things I've ever come across on a trail. Now here's the problem. I got to go back through there again to get back to my car. I don't know if he's still going to be there or not. In a way, I hope he is still there so I know where he's at so I can just go past there and move along. But as the day's getting later here, a lot more people are going to start coming up the trail and coming to that overlook. That's the point of doing this hike. But if I was a young woman by myself, I would have been downright scared. I wouldn't even have stayed there for a second. I probably would have turned around because I got major hair on my neck, bad vibes from that guy. And I could be wrong, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. And that's what you should be thinking too, like better be safe than sorry, and carry some kind of protection. If you're a woman hiking alone, carry pepper spray, bear spray. If you have a license to carry firearm, carry a firearm. I don't know if you can carry in a national recreation area because this is technically federal land, but in most Pennsylvania, like state forests, I think. I'm not sure about state parks and campgrounds, maybe out on the trail, but carry some kind of weapon that you're comfortable with to protect yourself, and hopefully you'll never have to use it. And look, 99.9%, I'm gonna turn around here, I'm gonna walk past that spot, I'm gonna stop and take another look at the overlook, and I'm gonna be fine. But that was just really creepy, and I wanted to get distance away from that person. Whatever they were doing, it wasn't normal, and I had to share that with you.
The situation became even more uneasy when Walter noticed a low, rhythmic sound similar to music and smelled smoke drifting through the air. Feeling exposed and uncomfortable, he decided to cut his time at the overlook. Short stayed alert to his surroundings and moved away while remaining ready to protect himself if necessary. Encounters like this show how unpredictable human behavior can feel far more threatening than wildlife, especially in remote areas. Was this simply a harmless individual choosing an unusual place to stand, or did Walter's instincts lead him to leave before the situation could turn into something much worse on the trail? Teahupo'o is a world-famous surf break in Tahiti, French Polynesia. Recognized for its thick, heavy barrels and shallow reef, it has earned a reputation for generating some of the most powerful waves on Earth. On May 29, 2022, the ocean demonstrates exactly why it demands so much respect. A taxi boat used to carry surfers and crew members is hit forcefully by a massive wave, briefly turning the situation into chaos. Despite the impact, no one on board is seriously hurt. Those thrown into the water are quickly pulled back to safety. Even so, the moment underscores how unpredictable and unforgiving Teahupo'o can be. If you had been on that boat, would you have stayed calm or panicked when the wave struck? On November 9, 2020, Kai Lenny recorded what he later described as the most intense moment of his life at Nazare. From the perspective of the person caught inside it, everything happens in an instant, far too fast for the body to respond. He tries to dive as his flotation vest deploys automatically, but a heavy impact to his shoulder throws him completely off balance. For several long seconds, time seems to slow as he fights against the force of the wave. At Nazare, survival becomes the only line that matters. When waves reach that scale, even the most experienced surfers are pushed to their limits. If you were in that situation, would you have relied on your training or let fear take control? This footage, released by The Independent on October 20th, 2022, shows a sudden encounter with a bear in the forest. There is no warning. The animal appears, and any sense of safe distance vanishes instantly. It's a brief but tense moment that highlights how quickly situations can change in the wild. What would you do if a bear suddenly appeared that close to you? Meet Josh, one of YouTube's most prominent urban explorers. With more than 4.5 million subscribers on his channel. Exploring with Josh, he is known for traveling across the globe and uncovering eerie, long-abandoned locations. But in this particular video, he and his friends would encounter something that went far beyond ordinary decay. The date was March 9th, 2015, on a cold winter day. Josh headed out with his friends Cody, Steve, and John to explore a large abandoned school that had been vacant since 2002. Although the building had been left to deteriorate, rumors suggested it contained underground tunnels and unusual activity stories most people had dismissed as urban legends. At first, everything appeared to be a typical abandoned site. They walked through deteriorating hallways and classrooms covered in graffiti. But as they moved deeper into one of the older sections, the atmosphere shifted quickly. A strong, unpleasant odor filled the air, something sharp enough to suggest they might not be alone. The group continued forward, driven by curiosity. That was when they came across something far more disturbing than expected.
This whole building just smells disgusting.
Oh, wow, I smell it now. This is awful. Oh, damn. You guys could go up first.
I'm going down.
What the?
Yo.
This is serious.
Guys, I never seen anything like this.
It smells nasty.
What the hell? And it's still wet, guys. This is fresh. Blood.
That is not blood.
I don't know what it is.
It smells nasty.
Let's touch that.
Look at the duct.
Dude, that is insane.
Dude, this is
Let's keep
insane.
that shit. What the fuck?
What the fuck?
I don't know. Let's keep that duct tape. I don't want to touch any of this stuff. I'm gonna taste it.
On a lower level of the building, they found a trail of red liquid, still wet and spread across the floor. Nearby were symbols and markings arranged in what looked like a ritual circle, some appearing to be drawn with something that looked and smelled like blood. At the center, there was a chair positioned as if it had been used during some kind of ritual. Despite the shock, the group separated. Steve and John remained behind to examine the scene, while Josh and Cody continued deeper into the building.
See, look how nice these rooms are. These rooms still look perfectly, like, almost new. Like, people can still actually live here and stuff, but yet they still keep it abandoned. Some holes and stuff left, but... Oh my fucking god, did you get that on tape? That is insane. Oh my god, another door just closed. Oh my god. We gotta get the fuck out of here. Holy shit, we're just standing on another satanic thing. And this is going on? Dude, upside down crosses.
Soon after, they entered another section that appeared strangely untouched. Some classrooms were still intact with furniture left in place as if frozen in time. Then, without warning, doors began to move. One slowly creaked open, and moments later another slammed shut. As the camera continued recording, they realized they were standing in the center of a second ritual site, this one marked with upside-down crosses and disturbing messages written across the walls. The atmosphere grew heavier. Loud banging sounds echoed through the halls, and the pattern of doors opening and slamming continued. With each new sound, their fear intensified.
This is insane. We can't be here that long. We're getting back to some dangerous shit, guys. 666 devil. Upside down cross. Guys, so much doors are opening and closing right now. Sounds just like someone hitting like a wall. I know, it really does though.
Of course, I'm pointing at this thing and says, I like taking my ass.
As they passed another hallway labeled with the number 666, they heard more unexplained knocking, like something striking the walls just out of view. At that point, it became clear they had gone too far. Choosing safety over exploration, they decided to leave. Step by step, they retraced their path and eventually made it out of the building without further incident. But the impact remained. What they saw and heard stayed with them long after the experience ended. Outside, they tried to process what had happened. Whether it was genuine paranormal activity or evidence of dark rituals, one thing was certain: the building held secrets not meant to be uncovered. While some suggest the moving doors and symbols could have been arranged by previous visitors, others believe the group may have encountered an active site used for occult practices. The presence of fresh markings and the timing of the disturbances make it difficult to ignore the possibility of something paranormal, or at least something intentional and sinister. Was the group being watched the entire time? And if they hadn't left when they did, what else might have been waiting deeper inside those halls?
That's it for tonight. Which moment creeped you out the most? Drop it in the comments. Have your own story? Share it with us, and stay tuned. The next one is even darker.